Welcome to this video on Chiron in Pisces. If you have Chiron in Pisces in your natal chart in astrology, this video is for you. I'm Cassandra, the Saffron Sage, helping you use astrology to evolve. And let's talk about Chiron in Pisces. First, we'll talk about Chiron the myth. We'll talk about Chiron in astrology, and then what Chiron means in the sign of Pisces. You can click the timestamp below to go to the section of the video you want to start with. So Chiron in astrology is the wounded healer. Chiron in mythology was a centaur, half man, half horse. He was known as the best centaur. He was known for his medicinal knowledge and his ability to heal. He was taken under his wing by Apollo because his mother abandoned him when he was young for what he looked like. So really, we see the wound happen in the story. Originally, that wound of abandonment. Now, not everyone's Chiron is abandonment, but the idea that you are not good enough in this respect. In Chiron's respect, it was his appearance. But what happened, he ended up being able to heal because of that wound. If his mother hadn't left him, he never would have been trained in medicine. So Chiron can be a place in our chart where we are more likely to be able to heal other people because we know the suffering that it took. We know what other people go through. We know how bad it is. And how much we heal or how we choose to heal, that is really up to us. And it can take many different forms. So then Chiron ended up getting shot with a poison arrow, and he couldn't heal himself. He tried. And he ended up choosing to give up his immortality because he was immortal. So he chose to give that up for Prometheus's freedom, and he ended up being placed among the stars. And that is how the story goes. And so really the theme that we see, what Chiron means in the natal chart, is it's a place where we have a restriction, something that we feel like we're blocked to, and also where energy is poured into it. So it's not just simply an obstacle in our life, but an obstacle in our life, a wound that continues to be activated whenever that pattern comes up until we choose to be aware of it and then consciously dismantle it. So Chiron really does take some conscious work. And, some of you watching this may have already come far on your Chiron wound. Some people learn this just through their life experience. The best way to use this video is to take what resonates and leave the rest, because I'll be giving kind of the most extreme cases for Chiron, and it's up to you to see, where you fall on that spectrum, whether it is totally to the extreme or maybe just some of those energies. So that's important in every video because these are general, and to get more specific, we'd have to look at, the house your Chiron is in, what the aspects to Chiron are, to really see the full picture of how the Chiron story shows up in your life. So let's move on to the video. If you have Chiron in Pisces, you have the wound of surrender and the wound of loss of faith or trust in the universe. So with this placement, it's a tough one. I'm going to be real honest with you guys. This is a challenging placement to have because with it comes this feeling like God has forsaken me, God has deserted me. And it's not just feeling of being left or being vulnerable, but being completely deserted by the universe and kind of not having anywhere to go. So potential manifestations of this placement, sometimes people will feel really kind of down and disappointed and just have kind of a negative or more pessimistic view of life because of situations in the past that have made them feel like they can't trust. They can't trust that there is a plan for them. They can't trust that good things will happen for them, or that there is any kind of positive force in the universe that is looking out for them. And what can happen as a result of this lack of trust sometimes is usually you go to one extreme or the other. So you're either going to have a lack of trust where you, again, you have that negative viewpoint where you don't necessarily have faith that things are going to work out for you. But the other side would be the overcompensation of Virgo, which is the opposite energy. So that would involve being really, really focused on your next steps, trying to control every outcome, trying to make things happen because you don't believe there is any universal support. So with this placement, the word surrender comes up because life always forces us to surrender no matter what our placement is. But with Chiron and Pisces, it's when life forces you to surrender, this is when the wound is activated, because that's when that feeling of I need to take the reins because there's nothing, no force in the universe that will, or the last time I surrendered, look what happened, that kind of thing comes up. So there's a fear of loss of control. There's a fear that surrender will lead you down a bad path. But at the same time, there's a need to allow that energy, because wherever we have Chiron, it restricts us, but there's a deep need to experience whatever we're restricting, because our soul wants to feel that. Our soul wants to be able to feel like we can trust the universe and we're at one with all things and we're in the flow, but we have all these blocks to feeling that energy. Another way this can manifest is to be sort of victims, or to be fooled by people who are pretending to be someone they're not, to have experiences where you really believe, you see things through those Pisces rose-colored glasses, where you see things how you want them to be instead of how they are. And, that just wounds you even more, because you're like, great, see, I can't trust anyone. I can't trust anything. Even this person lied to me. So this can activate that wound when, if you encounter situations where people aren't who you thought they were. Another way this can manifest is actually you rescuing other victims of anything, because it's like there's that part of you that feels like you have been a victim in some way, and sometimes you have. So this can also manifest as rescuing victims, and it's like there's a part of you that is rescuing yourself when this happens. When you rescue people from, terrible situations, it's like there's a part of you that can sometimes be healed by this. So if this energy gets way out of balance, you can actually neglect your material needs completely and only focus on your feelings, your emotional needs. So this can be a challenge for Chiron in Pisces. You can have times where you just can't seem to figure out how to get it together, how to, pay for your own bills or take care of your body. These are things that can be neglected. You can have a real hard time seeing the next steps to reach a goal, and go into times of your life where you are experiencing more powerlessness, where you're kind of just like floating along in the wind and you don't feel like you have any say in what happens. Even if maybe you could, like even if the physical, you have the physical ability or something, it's just you might get into a space where you feel like nothing matters. I can't do anything anyway. I have no influence anyway. So why even try, and just get into this sort of really floaty energy around in certain times of life. Another real challenge for Chiron and Pisces is it can be hard for you to understand your own boundaries, because Pisces is a sign of merging with spirit. It is a sign of dissolving the edges, dissolving boundaries. It is fish, which just kind of swim away from you. And so people with Chiron and Pisces can have a wound around not understanding the difference between me and you, not knowing sort of what the normal lines are for certain things that can show up in any area of life. So, in friendships, maybe you will overstep a little bit and get a little too close for people, or get a little too intimate for people, or get a little too bossy for your friends. Or, maybe in relationships, you will like show up at your boyfriend's work when he's working, or, just things that might seem like obvious boundaries to certain people. Whatever house your Chiron and Pisces lands in, it's going to be harder for you to respect boundaries for other people, or you might have people who don't respect your boundaries because there's a hard time seeing where you end and where someone else begins. This can show up in any area of life. It is a Pisces problem to kind of take on the energy of other people, to not really know how you feel versus how everyone around you feels, because you might just be absorbing that feeling. Where's the line? That is a question, if you are a Chiron and Pisces, you might not always know the answer to. So ways to heal this Chiron and Pisces are to look for the good in things, because when you've had so much suffering in life, sometimes that is just what you see more of because you're so used to it. And you're really on that vibration. So a Chiron and Pisces needs to look for the good in things because it's there. It's there. It's right there alongside that suffering. It is right there the whole time. And you're not going to necessarily notice it, because when we have good and bad, we tend to notice the bad. That's just human nature. Another way for this placement to heal is to learn the difference between your feelings and other people's. And not identifying that as who I am. So instead of going into that store and feeling like, wow, I'm tense and feeling I'm tense all day, going into that store and saying, I'm noticing tension in this store, and then it doesn't become something you take on. Finding ways to not take on the emotional energies of other people. Looking for ways that you are not asserting your own boundaries or crossing over other people's unintentionally, and finding ways to create healthy boundaries in your own life for yourself and other people. And like every Pisces placement, for Chiron and Pisces, the biggest way to heal is transcendence. Now, for some people, that's going to be a faith or a belief system. For some people, that might just be something like energy work, where you let the energy float out your body and you don't take it on and feel it. Finding a higher connected way to perceive the suffering that you felt in life. This is really important for a Chiron and Pisces. Now, I'm not pushing you to do that right now, but that is where you can start to heal this Chiron placement, is to be willing to rise above and transcend and really see the good of the whole, and to really connect yourself with the good of all. Oftentimes, helping victims is a great way for someone with Chiron and Pisces to heal, because it is how they tend to help themselves, as long as those boundaries are in check. The gift of this placement is that the amount of suffering you've had, you have that much potential for the amount of joy. For the amount of pain you've experienced, you have that much potential for the amount of ease and peace. And you really have a great ability to comfort the downtrodden in a way that nobody else can. Nobody like a Chiron and Pisces can comfort the people in life who are the most lost, who are the most powerless, who are the biggest victims, and who are suffering the most. You have so much potential to bring peace and love where there has been pain. You have so much potential to really have a stronger faith than anyone else, because it's like when someone breaks a bone and it grows back stronger. You guys, the areas in life that you have had broken faith, broken hopes and dreams, are areas where if you allow yourself to transcend, you can have that faith grow back even stronger. There is a potential, because you have lost faith, to find it again. And that's a journey that, although it does take a great deal of suffering to be on the bottom, there's nothing like the climb up to the top. There's nothing like re-emerging with spirit after you felt so lost, or so devastated, or so hurt in life. So I hope this video on Chiron and Pisces was helpful. You can hit that subscribe button and the bell to get more videos like this. I do videos on life purpose, past lives, and the North and South nodes. And you can also book a private reading with me using the link in the description box below. That's all I've got for you guys. I will see you in the next video.